And I want to kick things off by just telling you a little bit more about the American Heart Association. So at the AHA here, we believe that everyone deserves the opportunity for longer, healthier life. For 100 years, it's been our mission to fulfill that vision. Working alongside a global family of volunteers, donors, and advocates, we're transforming the way the world understands and treats cardiovascular disease and stroke. With bold hearts, we now forge ahead into our second century, fueling science and innovation, funding life-saving research, and boldly standing for the rights of patients and caregivers to empower healthier communities and transcend the way we live, work, and play. One bold example is that we've set a goal of doubling the survival rate of cardiac arrest by 2030. To reach this goal, we're building a nation of lifesavers that prepares and empowers bystanders to become a vital link in the chain of survival and provide CPR. We're making healthcare smarter and more accessible because we are committed to advancing health and hope for everyone, everywhere. Because our future is about improving yours. And I know many people would love to make a difference when they go to work every day. Well, we do. At the American Heart Association, our interns save lives. It doesn't matter what your role is, whether you're in accounting, whether you're in fundraising, public health, you are saving lives. We hear it from our survivors all the time. They say without the American Heart Association, they wouldn't be here. So it takes all of us to make this bold vision a reality. If that sounds exciting to you, stick around and we hope you'll consider joining us. As you can see, we have several guiding values that keeps us focused on our work. My favorite of the ones listed on here is meeting people where they are. I think this is such a crucial part of our guiding values to really make sure that our mission and the message that we need to deliver is really resonating with people in different communities, different places in the US, as well as around the world. Type in the chat if one of these guiding values really stands out to you. Which one do you connect with? Give a second for those answers to come on into chat. Making an extraordinary impact, ensuring equitable health, building partnerships, meeting people as well. I'm seeing a little bit of everything, inspiring passionate commitment. Yep, ensuring equitable health. Love that. Love that. A lot about equitable health. We're into that too. So that's great. Building powerful partnerships, building partnerships. We love that. Awesome. And then you can see our strategic value proposition there as well about how we're a catalyst to make sure that we're really moving the work forward. I want to talk specifically now about our internship program, now that you know more about the Heart Association. So first off, we offer internships in every aspect of the work that we do. So you can see we have, from anywhere from human resources to marketing and communication, business technology and finance. We're going to talk a lot about fundraising today, and so you can get a sense of how you can make an impact through our fundraising arm. And then we do sales with corporate relations, getting CPR equipment out to folks, as well as mission specific. So lots when it comes to advocacy, community health, being right there in the field, to work with folks. And then science and research is obviously a big part. We usually have internships in our data science and program evaluation fields as well. So all across the organization, throughout the year, we have different internships. So could help with any kind of major that you all are in. We're excited because our summer internships are live right now. They are on the Way Up platform. So if you're obviously registered through Way Up, you can see all of our internships easily there. You can also go to heart.jobs/interns and see our summer internships. We will be adding a few more positions over the next couple of weeks. So if you don't quite see something that fits you right now, keep checking back and see if there's an opportunity coming up in the future. We do also offer fall and spring internships. So we have internships year round, and you can see the different timelines up there for each. So we're excited to be able to take interns year round in various positions. A little bit about the specifics of our program. We do have all of our internships are part-time. So they're approximately 20 to 25 hours. So during the school year, it's perfect because you can definitely still accomplish that and take classes. You do need to be available during the work day. So it's Monday through Friday, normal business hours where you're located. But they are all part-time in the summer as well. Those are part-time internships. And then we offer a salary of $23 an hour. We have some opportunities are hybrid. So if it says on the job description that you need to be in Toledo, Ohio, that means you are going to be in the community doing some work and need to be based in that location. Then we have others that are fully remote. So again, we try to list that in the title of the job, where it will either list the location of where you need to be, or it will say remote, meaning you can be from anywhere in the country. If you're doing an internship, you do need to be in the United States. So if you are studying a semester abroad, that would not be an option for you to spend time with us and do an internship with us during that semester. We offer a lot of professional development, and I know you're going to hear more about that from our former interns in a bit, but we really look at what are managers across the country saying is a need of students to build those skills as they're coming out of college. And so we try to help build those skills up so that when it's time for you to apply for a full-time job, those are the skills that you've improved. So we work a lot on communication, a lot on building your executive presence and leadership skills, as well as provide a lot of networking and connect you to even alumni that are here at the association from your college. We also have a very special program called Heart U, and Heart U is our learning and development program, and it has online training courses as well as live courses for career development. It has over 100,000 resources, and we've had folks do things like project management, certificate preparation, as well as just getting better at Excel or some other programs. It has leadership books and just a lot of classes, so you can specialize what you want to develop while you're here. And then you're going to meet Heather here in a little bit. She's our recruiter. She's also a certified career coach. And you have access to Heather, and she provides amazing resources when it comes to helping to prepare for full-time job interviews, as well as getting that resume ready to go, and even helping to improve your LinkedIn presence so that as hiring managers are checking you out, you look good in all areas that you're trying to pursue. So lots of resources through our internship program. But what I really want is I want you to hear from real people a little bit more about our program. So I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to invite our panelists to come on so we can really have a discussion and you all can learn a little bit more about our program. So welcome everybody, Danielle, Mackenzie, Olivia, and Daryl. Nice to see you all. Thanks for being here. First and foremost, I would love to just have everybody really introduce themselves, share a little bit about your role and your journey at the Heart Association. And since this is kind of 4 interns, I'm going to not start with our executive. I'm going to actually make him go last. So I'm going to start with our former interns here, really highlight them. So Olivia, maybe you can kick us off.
Hi, everyone. My name is Olivia. I use they, she for my pronouns. I started here at the American Heart Association as an intern in the fall of 2023 for the live department. And the live department's a really niche department, but all you really need to know is that we work with live streamers and turn them into fundraisers, which is really neat. I had the honor of becoming a full-time employee in December of 2023 and getting to continue all of my projects that I had as an intern and turn them into full-time opportunities. So it's been a lot of fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Olivia. Mackenzie.
Hi, everyone. My name is Mackenzie Morgan. I use she, her pronouns. I started my internship in September of 2024 in Cleveland, Ohio. I saw an Ohio State person out there, so that was nice to see. And I was a development and community events intern. I was also in college when I started my internship, so I was at Kent State at the same time, and it was not a problem at all. I was studying business management, and that was really fun. But during my internship, I worked really closely with our development team and our socials team. So I did a lot of working on our events and making sure that our attendees, the people in our community, were really seeing what we were doing and enjoying what we were doing. So making sure they had a great experience. And then I was an intern for about a full year. And in September of 2025, or 2024, I was offered a full-time position here at the AHA. So now I'm a project coordinator for Go Red for Women in Cleveland.
Thank you. And then, I know it's great to hear from former interns, but we also know it can be good to learn from our managers and mentors as well. So Danielle, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. My name is Danielle Chelf, and I use she, her pronouns. I have been in the nonprofit space for 10 years, and tomorrow I actually celebrate 3 years here at the American Heart Association. I saw a few University of Iowa Hawkeyes. I grew up in Iowa, but have lived here in Dallas for a little over 10 years. I now run a team of 10 development directors and operations staff that lead our Dallas Heart Walk efforts. So I'm happy to be here with all of you today.
Awesome. And Daryl.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Daryl Griffin, native of Chicago. I have been with the American Heart Association. I'm in my 10th year. I'm actually what they call a boomerang employee. I had 2 stints with the AHA, but I started as an executive director in the Birmingham market and then moved into our national center to help reimagine our Core Vitae Society. It was our annual giving society, as well as manage mission advancement operations, then moved into a role managing principal and major gift fundraisers for 2 regions. Then moved into our development and community health to help us bring about our issue-based fundraising work. And now I serve as the Senior Vice President of our Bernard J. Tyson Office of Health Equity. So for all of those who connected with that guiding value of ensuring equitable health for all, that is right up my alley, but all of our alley. And so I'm grateful to be with you all today.
And then Daryl, you also have a special opportunity to mentor some of our
Yes.
some of our folks, right? You want to talk a little bit about that role?
Yeah, and so mentorship, I was actually just on a call right before this one with the mentee, and mentoring is something that is very near and dear to my heart because I had mentors, allies, sponsors, 3 different terms, 3 different definitions, all viable and meaningful in your career development. But I had mentors early in my career, and so it's a passion point for me to be able to give back in formal and informal capacities. And so, mentor, mentee, formal and informal within the organization and external.
All right, great. Well, I'm going to turn back to Olivia McKenzie and just let you share a little bit more about your time as an intern. So Olivia, maybe you can kick us off.
Sure, for sure. So my time as an intern was a lot of fun, and my manager made sure of that. From day one, he emphasized that you get like what you put into this internship. First day, he established his expectations and he established what my projects would look like. So I went in full on knowing exactly what my internship would look like. But it was really cool because in this internship, I really got to grow, and he made sure of that. So we would have our weekly check-in calls, and he would see how I'm feeling about it. And if I felt good, we would add on extra responsibilities or extra opportunities. Or if I was like, I want to network, he would be like, okay, we can network you with XYZ person. Or if I need to learn about the mission, he would direct me to Heart U, or he'd have me sit in on sales calls with him to talk about the mission. So there was a lot going on in the internship, but he made sure it was never more than I could take. So very, very positive in that regard.
Great. Mackenzie, what about for you?
I love that answer, Olivia, because I had a pretty similar experience in that my manager was just wonderful, right? Like she was there for me through, my college graduation when I interned, like all of this stuff that was in my work realm and out of my work realm were just wonderful. But my internship like pushed me beyond all of my limits, like, and in the best way possible. Like I grew so much as a professional within that year. It was something I didn't expect at all. Within my second week of the internship, I co-led a CPR demonstration. Never expected that would be where I would be. I was not somebody to speak in public, and I did it. So it was just like opportunity after opportunity. There were different ways for me to learn and for me to really connect with not only my team in Cleveland, but fellow interns. Kathy does and Heather, they do a wonderful job of making sure that you're connecting with people from other states. You're connecting with, you have a team of people within, your Midwest region or whatever. So there's all kinds of wonderful opportunities, and I can speak about this internship for long time, but go ahead, next.
Awesome. Well, we'll give you more chances to talk about different elements of it. But Danielle, I want to turn to you. I'm going to ask everybody this question, but there's a choice when do you want to go into for-profit work or do you want to go into nonprofit work? And I'd love for everybody, but Danielle, we'll start with you. Why did you choose to pursue a career in fundraising, but also at a nonprofit, right, as opposed to sales or something else in that direction? And what makes it meaningful to you?
Absolutely. So I, at the time, was pursuing a general business degree, thought I wanted to go into corporate sales, but at the time was also volunteering with different organizations, had an opportunity to meet a lot of people through those organizations. And when I found out the volunteer work was something that I could do and get paid for, I was like, how do I mirror that together? I want to be able to make this impact on my day-to-day life. It sounds way more impactful to me than going out and selling something else. And so really it was surrounding myself with those people, understanding what skills I needed to master to be successful in the fundraising world, and then finding out where those passions lied for me within the nonprofit world. Along with that, I am also very mission tied. I lost my father to heart disease. And so for me, it's something that I'm able to go out every single day and make sure that I'm helping my family and helping other families and tying that together on something that is a skill for me, but makes it impactful in the community every single day.
You bring up a great point, Danielle. I think there's so many people that have a personal connection to our mission because family members suffer from diabetes, right, or have had that heart attack or that stroke. Type a 1 in the chat, folks. Type a 1 in the chat if you've been personally impacted by heart disease or stroke in your life. Type a 1 in the chat. Yeah, so many of you are probably here today too because you have that personal connection. Thank you for sharing that. Daryl, same question. Why nonprofit? Why this type of work?
Interesting question to really reflect on is when I started my undergrad at Vanderbilt University, I went there to be an engineer. And actually, it was a 1-hour community service course. Basically, it was an internship class, but it was a community service course where, as part of that, we had to go and volunteer at a nonprofit organization. And I went over to the Susan Gray School for Children, for abused children in Nashville, and I saw just the devastating effects of abuse on children. And that actually made me change my entire career path from that 1-hour course. And so you think of all of the hours that you have to take to graduate with your undergraduate degree, and 1 hour changed my entire direction of my life. And so from there, I went into nonprofit program development, working with young people. And then that evolved into Major Gift Fund, wanting to inquire more about, who is this person who always brings the checks and has the big foam checks and the media and all of that? What do you do? And so I asked that question, and then that one thing led to another. And I became certified in fundraising as a profession, and the rest, shall we say, is history from that point.
Very meaningful. I love that. It is amazing how one thing can just change the whole course. And I think Olivia and Mackenzie have kind of experienced that because I'm not sure you all thought this would be your path. And so Mackenzie, maybe we'll start with you. Why kind of choose this path in fundraising? You're supporting fundraising and then at a nonprofit.
Yeah, totally. I had a similar thought process to Danielle, actually, I was like, wow, I really like helping people, but I didn't want to be a doctor. I didn't want to do this or that. And I didn't know it was an opportunity to, make a career in nonprofit and really help people while also, making a living kind of thing. But I kind of got into the American Heart Association world through my friend Catherine. She was born with congenital heart disease, so she had a very sick heart in her entire life. And in July of 2022, she received what we call her second chance at life and got a heart transplant. And I have just been connected to the mission ever since that point, especially like having somebody so close to me affected by heart disease. It showed me not only what it does to that individual, but what it does to their family and their friends and their community. And it opened my eyes to, okay, what can you do about this? What can I do about this? And she had been involved in the American Heart Association. Obviously, she had connections there with everyone who had supported her journey. And she told me about this internship and she said, you should go for it. And I did. And that part of my story, that why is why I'm here, right? It's why, I got to this point, why I fought for the internship, and it keeps me going every day. So
Awesome. Well, that passion I know is what your team loves about you, being able to, not only deliver on what you're supposed to, but you bring that passion to it. So that's great. Olivia, what about for you? I know this wasn't what you had in mind either.
No, it was profoundly not what I had in mind. So I went to school for global business at the University of Texas at Dallas. I had a focus on entrepreneurship. And so I graduated, or I was searching for jobs to be an entrepreneur, particularly in for-profit, because that's all I had ever worked in. I've worked a lot of jobs. They were all for-profit. And in these for-profit jobs, they always had like volunteer hours, or they're like, we donate to this program, and so on and so forth. And I always thought that was really cool that they did that. But then one day I realized that, wait, those are companies too. And I saw a job posting that was for an innovative department in the AHA. And I was like, I have to apply for this. Like, I could help people. I could be one of those like organizations that's helping others and still be innovative and still be an entrepreneur in some form or fashion. And so that combined with heart related issues being very close to me, I've lost people and I've also seen people in use CPR and so on and so forth. I was like, okay, we're going to apply. We're going to do this. And now we're here and I'm working in a nonprofit, which not what I expected to do.
Awesome. I love that. I love everybody's journey so different, but with very similar threads throughout, right? And just how that passion for wanting to make a difference really comes out and finding that avenue that again, many people don't realize that nonprofit is a career. So thank you for sharing all of that. I'm going to stick with Olivia and Mackenzie here because what people on this call want to know is how do I get that internship? So can you all share a little bit about what the hiring process was like and how you stood out, how you feel you stood out as a candidate for that? Olivia, you want to go first?
Yeah. So for me, it was, submit your resume, phone interview, and then final interview. I think my resume is where I initially stood out because I took time to make sure that my base resume was customized to the AHA in this role. So I looked deep into the role description and made sure that my experiences, I phrased them in a way that they would fit. So that was the first thing I do. I think the second time that I kind of stood out in the process was when my then manager would ask me, what is fundraising? Like, if you can describe it in a handful of words, what else could you describe fundraising as? And I immediately, because I had done my research, I said, it's like sales, but for a good cause. And he's like, that is correct. Like, it was like I won Jeopardy. That is correct. And so that is, I think, those two things are what made me stand out as a candidate in the interview process.
Awesome. Mackenzie, what about for you?
yeah, I think the interview process was very smooth and natural. It was similar for me. I had a phone call interview first, and then it was a virtual interview, which set the tone for just the flexibility of the AHA. I feel like as well, like they were able to work around my schedule as well. I was in school, so I couldn't necessarily come in person for this interview, and they were able to adapt to that, which was great. But I did a lot to prepare for the interview because I really wanted it. I wanted to put myself out there and push myself. And one of the things I did when Kathy talked about our mission statement earlier, I memorized that mission statement. I memorized it and I tried to incorporate that into any answer that I could because that's why the AHA does what it does. That's what we work for, to be relentless. And that was just what I kind of connected with. I was like, that's something that I'm passionate about, and I know my passion can come through that mission statement. So that was a big thing that I tried to do. I also really incorporated my why, Catherine, my friend, into my interview process to show again, like this is something that I'm going to work for, right? This isn't something that, you know, I'm interested in, you know, might like it. This is something that I want. I want to do it and I need to do it, right? So that was a huge part of it for me. And same with my resume. I didn't change my resume like Olivia did, but I like almost studied my resume in a way to make sure like all the things that I had been collecting on there that I had forgotten about, I made sure that I knew those like the back of my hand. So when they asked me a question or something that was on my resume stood out to them, I knew exactly what they were talking about in that moment.
Awesome. Well, stay tuned, folks, because later in the program, we're going to have our recruiter on to go through all sorts of tips and tricks. But right now we have Danielle on, and Danielle is a hiring manager for interns. So Danielle, you know, when hiring an intern, what kind of qualities or skills do you look for? What stands out to you?
Absolutely. And you know, I'm happy to share that the 3 interns that we've hired in my team are now all on full-time positions as well. So we're very excited about that, the whole goal. But I would say for me, I really look at someone that has time management skills, has attention to detail. But really for me, it's also being coachable. Like, can you show that you're willing to learn the AHA, learn how we operate as an organization and how we are so successful? That's something that is not easy to do, you know, even myself. And so I think it's being able to share your story, making sure that you are sharing the best parts of you and why you would be successful in this internship in line with the job description. We can teach you the mission. We can teach you all of these things that are important parts of the organization, but to be able to come in and use those skills, we want you to be able to show that you can do that time management. I will say one of the biggest things is whether you're in a hybrid or a remote role, there is time that you have to do projects on your own. Olivia and Mackenzie might attest to this. We are only in our office 2 days a week. And so it's being able to be an advocate for yourself for your time, but making sure that if you have questions, that you're coming to us as well. So I think tying that all up in a nice bow, it's a little hard. It can be hard, but Mackenzie and Olivia hit it on the nose. It's preparing and sharing that story.
I agree. I love when I can tell someone did their research. That's great. Daryl, you're our executive sponsor of our Emerging Hearts Employee Resource Group. We have about 11 or 12 employee resource groups at the American Heart Association, but this one in particular supports our emerging leaders, right? Those young professionals, early professionals. So what skills do you notice that help someone early in their career stand out as a future leader?
Well, one, you know, as I coach often, you know, whatever seat you sit in, lead from that seat. And so success in whatever role that you are and understanding how you can lead from wherever you are is a critical aspect of, you know, setting yourself up for growth potential. Because you don't minimize, you know, any of the work, because as Danielle and others have already shared, like everything that we do is about saving and improving lives. So, you know, whether you're, you know, one of the folks that help us in the background setting up events, or someone that's out front, donor facing, and or anyone in between, like all of it is critically important. So understanding that being successful in your seat is important. One, two, Danielle also mentioned like your mission mastery and understanding the work, and a lot of that is dedicating the time to learn about the organization that you're working for, one, in preparation for an interview, but even now 10 years later, I'm still learning because we're always evolving and innovating. And so always be open to learning. Coachability is so critically important, but passion and empathy is what I would really double down on, because, you know, empathy gives you understanding for those that you may not share a similar lived experience. And the passion to talk about the need for our work to impact those who are disproportionately impacted by cardiovascular disease and stroke, that's actually what persuades. And, you know, passion persuades. Empathy will get folks' attention, but your passion is what will persuade them to want to come alongside us and solve some of the most pressing challenges that we face.
I love that. I love that. All right, Olivia McKenzie, back to you. I want you to talk a little bit more about the professional development opportunities that were offered during your internship, because we just heard a lot about skills, right? And how to take skills to the next level. You know, what are some of the professional development and how did it resonate with you here and maybe help you land this job? So Mackenzie?
Yeah, that's a great question. Going back to what Olivia said right at the beginning, what your manager told you was what you put in, you're going to get out. And that was a huge part of all of the opportunities that were available to me is they're there if you want them. You just have to put yourself in that position to say, hey, I want to do this. And so I was able to go to meetings, go to fundraising meetings with CEOs of companies. And it was just a fly on the wall, but sitting there and being able to listen to the language that my boss would use when speaking to a professional, or, the manner of even like the simple things of when to shake the hand or when to hug, right? Like you just learn so much by putting yourself in those positions to go and do something out of your comfort zone a little bit, but to go and to do it. Another thing that I really appreciated during my time was I attended not just Cleveland events, but I attended Akron Canton events, and I'm going to attend a Cincinnati event coming up. But just, seeing not just what my team in Cleveland is able to do in our community, but going to other locations. I mean, the American Heart Association is everywhere. It's everywhere. And if you want to go and see a different office or see a different place, they're more than willing to make that happen. So putting myself in those opportunities to go and learn from a whole different group of people were some of the most like character development moments that I had in that whole experience, because it's a new setting. You have to learn and grow and be quick on your feet.
Great. Olivia, what about for you?
Yeah, Mackenzie, you hit it right on the head. You're given lots of time to an opportunity to explore outside of your bubble. So, like I said, my department pretty small, and I was also hired to the Southeast region, but I was never contained to just that. My manager was like, "Hey, I know you're not in the Southeast. You're in Dallas. You want to go to HQ and like spend a day there just working?" Go for it, go do it. Or, hey, you should go learn about what the Southwestern area is doing so that you can see the impact it's having on you. Or go meet people for coffee who are in your area. So there was a lot of opportunity to interact with people way outside of what I would expect to. So networking was a huge opportunity. Heart U was another thing that my manager encouraged a lot for my professional development. He's like, you can learn all the skills you could want, whether or not they apply to this role. He's like, they are there. They are there for you to use. There's books, there's courses. Please use them to develop your project management, use them to develop your fundraising knowledge, all of it. So lots of room for growth was provided.
Awesome, thank you. All right, rapid fire for everybody. Okay, well, we're talking about skills and professional development here. What skills or traits are necessary in a fundraising role? Rapid fire, Danielle,
Grit and tenacity.
Olivia,
Resilience.
Mackenzie,
Adaptability.
Daryl.
Pleasantly persistent.
I love that. Yes, pleasantly persistent for
Yeah.
sure, for sure. All right, Mackenzie, what stood out to you as an intern about the culture of the American Heart Association?
Oh, I love this question. Everything, like the people in this organization, they and going like Daryl, empathy, like that empathy it's so seen. Like you have all these opportunities to grow and learn and the best professional things, but when it comes down to it, if something happens in your home life, or if something happens, that you have to go and take a day off for, like these people get it. They get it. And you see that in positions and careers, but I have never experienced that like I have at the American Heart Association. And just like everyone's there for each other. I didn't know certain people 2 weeks ago, and I sent them a quick question of, hey, I don't know how to do this, so can you help me? And now we chat all the time because you know, you just made a new connection. And these are people that you could meet from all across the United States. So I think one of the things that I love the most is just how willing everybody is to help you and to step in and say, hey, this might be new for you, but it's not new for me, and I can teach you this. So everybody is so caring and so mission oriented. Everyone's, you know, working for the same end goal, and you can really see that.
I love that. That's great. Olivia.
Yeah, so what stood out for me in the HA culture is the level of inclusivity and understanding that everyone in the HA seems to provide. So, for example, I'm in the LGBTQ community, and there are places where I have not felt the most welcome before, but I have never felt unwelcome in the HA. From day one, it's like, hey, we're going to include you, or there's just so many ERGs that are active. And I just love that they are trying to recognize and include everyone. And also just your coworkers and managers, they're just understanding. Like Mackenzie said, you're having a bad day or something happens, they're going to understand that. They're going to recognize that you are a human who has those off days or who has those bad days, and they will give you the support that you need. And so I absolutely love that. And it is something that I haven't found in other for-profits. Part of why I like the nonprofit space.
It's not, the American Heart Association provides resources to companies on well-being for workers, right? And whether it's mental health resources or others. And so it's nice when, I'm hearing you both talk about that we live that mission, right? And I think that we see that. Danielle and Daryl, what is it about our culture that you think supports interns and staff early on in their careers? Daryl, do you want to go first?
Sure. One of the things that I would say is that you have a number of people who work for the HA who's been here like a long time. And with that comes every step in the career journey that they can relate to and connect with from, an intern's perspective. And so the opportunity for mentoring, shadowing, just casual, informal conversation with someone to ask them, like, how did you get to where you are today? Like, everybody's open to that. And so, like, to me, that is a subcomponent of the culture. Like, the culture really kind of oozes out in that way. Like, people are welcoming and inviting, and more importantly, showing this true concern about your overall personal and professional development. Like, that's an important thing. And I've had that from people who I work directly with and those who I'm like very far removed from, who will reach out and just connect. And it's not always wanting something from me. In many cases, it's actually to deposit some positivity into me. And that's always a great thing.
Awesome. Danielle, what do you think?
Everyone has hit so many things. I would say for me, one of the biggest things that I love about our internship and then into our early career development, Daryl hit it, but we really do offer that opportunity to meet as many people throughout the organization that may be in a similar role as yours, or an opportunity for you to learn about where you could go in the organization in the future. Right now I see myself in a fundraising role for as long as they'll have me, but if one day I want to be involved with mission advancement, I can go and talk with someone in mission advancement. If I want to go learn about science operations or finance, everyone is open to telling you what path you can do. The other side of that is that our HR department is so wonderful about creating those moments of understanding, those check-ins of is this still the role that are you still enjoying your role? Is there a path that you want to take in the next 3 to 5 years? What does that look like? Where do we need to map that out for you? So I think as much as we have that culture, it's also the ability and the welcomeness for you to say, how can I make that happen?
Yeah, it really is interesting. You don't hear of many companies in general that have a learning and development team and then career coaches on staff, right? And at this nonprofit, we're fortunate enough to have all of that. We have a great learning and development team that provides all of these resources, whether it's live classes or through the Heart U and on demand. And then we have Heather just for the interns as a career coach, but then we have a second career coach on staff because we do have so many people that stay for 10, 15, 20 years. And so what are those moves, right? Maybe you haven't applied for a job in 5 or 10 years and it's like, oh, I forgot how to do an interview, right? Like, what's the latest and greatest way that a resume should look? And we can help you with that and help navigate this large organization that we have, and what might be the next step. So that's great. And Olivia and Mackenzie, when I am talking to potential candidates, they're always interested in, well, what does the job look like, right? And it's difficult for me to explain to them that at the Heart Association, we really give meaningful projects. You are literally joining the team and doing the work alongside the team. So I'd love for you to share, what was the most rewarding project that you worked on and what made it impactful for you? Olivia, you want to kick us off?
Sure. So I really felt like an intern who made an impact because I was tasked with, like I said at the beginning, I work with live streamers. And so I was tasked with going out, finding these live streamers and recruiting them, and eventually coaching them to be fundraisers. But my job as an intern was to recruit them and coach them. And then I'd hand them off for their fundraising duties to a full-time employee. And it was really neat to get to do that as an intern because there was one particular person I was working with named Josh, and I was turning him into a fundraiser. And I was fortunate enough that when I became a full-time employee, I saw the work that I had put in as an intern come to life. We had expected him to only fundraise $10,000, and he ended up raising $25,000 in 3 days. And so it was really cool to be like, wow, as an intern, I coached that guy and he earned that much from intern coaching. So that was a really cool project to be on. And I was like, wow, I actually did something. So very meaningful project for me.
Might be part of how you got the job. I love that.
Yeah. I be.
I love that. I love that. Mackenzie, what about for you? What was an impactful project that you worked on?
So many, but one that stands out to me is I was lucky enough to have my internship on our centennial year of the American Heart Association. 2024, we turned 100 years old. And one of the projects that I took on for our Heart and Stroke Ball is I made 10 different posters. I kind of got creative and did a little designing, but I made 10 posters and they were like 6 feet tall. They were like huge posters. And each poster represented a decade of research and what we accomplished and all of those amazing advancements that went on in that decade. And I connected that research and storytelling with somebody from the Cleveland community who had been directly impacted by that. So Catherine was one of them, one of these people who was directly impacted by research that the American Heart Association had done and is continuing to do. And it was so special watching people come to our heart ball and walk and read those posters and say, oh, I know that person. But I had no idea that they had been impacted by the AHA, or, oh my gosh, I love this story. I didn't know them. I'll have to see if I can connect with them. Like, it was so special to see people connect with the mission just in Cleveland and knowing, like, in the back of my head that this happens everywhere. Like, it was so special to, see that connection, but also like foresee where that could still go.
That is so great. That's so great. I'm going to ask you all to stick around. You can go off camera if you like, but I'm going to ask you to stick around. I'm going to try to give you all the final word. And I'm going to have Heather Jackson, our recruiter, come on to share expert tips and tricks from a recruiter on how to stand out as a candidate. So Heather, over to you.
Thank you, Kathy. We really know that the crux of this session right now is can you get hired at the American Heart Association? So I'm going to answer a couple questions that will improve your chances of getting hired. So the first one is, how can I improve my chance of having my resume reviewed? It was mentioned earlier, I think Liv talked about how they really tailored their resume to the job description. I can attest to that. I didn't have the privilege of recruiting Mackenzie, but I absolutely recruited Olivia, and that absolutely happened. Their resume was so aligned with the job. There was nobody else I could possibly think of that would be right for this position, even though other people did apply. So absolutely review the job description, think about the job duties, then think about your coursework and any other internships or part-time jobs that you've had that go along with those job duties. Highlight those skills. Again, it can be coursework if you don't have that firsthand internship experience, making sure that's showcased on your resume. And then that will absolutely improve your chances of being able to get your resume reviewed. Another way that you can improve your chance of getting interviews is how do you go from the video interview stage to the phone interview stage? So it's not redundant, it might seem like it, but again, you're going to want to review the job description and think about the job duties before recording your response. For example, one question you're going to be asked is, what makes you the best candidate for this position? If you say that you're a hard worker, great communicator, etc., that's okay. Those are really good, important qualities to have. But what would improve your chances of going to that next step in the interview process is if you explain how you have completed several courses or done a previous internship that relates to the internship that you're applying to. So let's now talk about the application process. So it's a very simple process. And so the first obvious step is to explore the available internship opportunities on our website and apply to those jobs that you're interested in. And then from there, you will qualified candidates will get selected to receive an email invitation for a one-way video interview. I just mentioned that video interview there just a minute ago. And then from those that have completed their video interview, those that are qualified, that really meet those job duties, there's going to be a phone interview that candidates would be invited to. That gives you an opportunity to really showcase the skills that you have. And after you do that, you'll do that with somebody in university relations. The top 3 people that have completed their phone interview will get a virtual interview with the hiring manager. So after the hiring manager has interviewed all 3 of the candidates, there's going to be a final selection that is made after those interviews are completed, as I said. And we're going to answer a few questions. And one of them is, the first question is, how long does this process take for the American Heart Association? So our process is usually around 8 to 10 weeks long. So if you apply to one of our summer internships today, hiring decisions will come around mid to end of April for you. Another question is, will I receive updates on the status of my application? Absolutely. We know that trying to find an internship is a very stressful process. And the last thing we want for our candidates is to be stressed out as they're applying to jobs at the American Heart Association. So we'll give you updates on the status of your application, and we will make sure that if you ask us any questions throughout that process after you've started that initial video interview, we'll make sure to reach out to you and answer any questions that you might have in addition to that. Can I still apply if I've already graduated? Yes, we take grad students and interns that have graduated up to 2 years. So we know right now the job market is tough for those who are going into professional positions. So they're wanting to see, interns are wanting to get more skills while they're waiting for that full-time job to come. And so yes, we absolutely will take you up to 2 years after you have graduated. Next question, can I apply if I live in another country? Unfortunately, we don't have any internships that allow for someone living in another country. All of the American Heart Association internship work must be done within the US, which includes both remote work and on-site internships. Do you provide sponsorship for international students? Unfortunately, we do not provide sponsorships for international students at this time. Back to you, Kathy.
Awesome. All right, great. Thank you so much for that. I did see another question come into the Q&A. Heather, is there an age requirement for candidates?
You do need to be 18 years old to apply to our internships.
Awesome, great. And way up, you will see recruiters do post full-time positions there as well. So internships will say intern and then the name, the title of the job. If it does not say intern, that is actually a full-time position that would be appropriate for someone in early careers. You can also go to heart.org/jobs, or is it heart.jobs? I think
it's in the chat.
Okay, great. It's in the chat. So you can also go there for full-time roles, and you can set up alerts for both internships or for other departments if you're looking for full-time roles. I did see some questions that folks are wanting to skip the intern process and move right along, and you're welcome to do that as well. we do find that many folks that have graduated are the internship is a great platform to get seen, to get some opportunities and to be able to do that. Awesome. So I see that the way up to, they just put their link in there, and then any of the jobs will click over to our main career page. And so you can see the career page from there. Awesome. We have just a few minutes left. I'm going to ask all of our team to come back online and just give some folks some final words of advice. What advice do you have for someone who wants to be an intern at the American Heart Association? Olivia, let's start with you.
Find something that you're passionate about related to the AHA. The AHA does so much. There's something for everyone. Like, I had no idea that we work in rural communities specifically. Find something that you are passionate about, because that passion will translate into your resume and into your interview. And I know that's what Daryl said, but I cannot emphasize it enough.
All right. Since you mentioned Daryl, what do you think?
Well, just, piggybacking off of Olivia, it is about the passion point, but it's also just being tenacious in your pursuit of it. Don't wait. I would say don't wait on the opportunity to come to you. Go after the opportunity that you want, and that level of tenacity will get someone's attention.
Awesome. Love that. Danielle.
Yes, I said it before, but be your biggest advocate. Come in prepared, tell your story. And then once you're here, bring the people around you to tell our story. I think that's the best advice that I can share.
I like that.
Mackenzie.
Daryl stole my answer, but I'm gonna adapt a little bit to it. But my biggest advice is to put yourself, like, get uncomfortable. Like, go out there, do it. You never know where you could end up. I never imagined I would be here, but look at me now. Like, I have a full-time career right out of college, so go for it. Like, that's the best advice I have.
Awesome. Heather, what do you think? What advice do you have for folks that want to be an intern here?
Don't give up. Don't worry that there's a lot of people trying to get an internship. Don't worry about how many people may have lost their jobs. Just try, be your authentic self. I like what Daryl said, be persistent, you'll get noticed. We have interns that have applied to around 20 jobs, and they finally found something that was a good match to their skill set and the organization, and they're with us. So yeah, that would be my advice.
Awesome. And I, those tips, listen to those pro tips about tailoring your resume and applying for the right job, right? So I understand people are passionate. We have people that they want to be here so bad, and they are getting a finance degree, and they apply for something that specifically says you need to have marketing and communication experience. Okay. I understand you want to be here, but let's increase your chances. Okay. Let's increase your chances of getting that job by making sure that you fit, right? That you fit those qualifications. That's going to help you in your full-time role as well. In that pursuit of that. So love that. Yes, if folks want to drop their LinkedIn, if Olivia, Mackenzie, Daryl, Danielle want to drop your LinkedIn, please go ahead and do that. But I want to take this final minute to thank everybody, all of our panelists, but mostly also the attendees for joining today. We hope you check out our jobs, and hopefully we'll see you this summer or in the future at one of our internship jobs. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you
Thanks,
all.
everybody.